Yes, happy 2015, and welcome everybody to the very first co-op podcast for the new year. Um, what episode are we at right now, Gary? Just so I know.
It's 104.
104.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Well, let me start off by first and foremost, I apologize to everybody. We didn't have a show last week because I was very much under the weather. And everybody had something going on, but we will be around every week from here on out. I promise you all that much. So let me introduce you to my guest for today. It's a relatively light cast. First and foremost, we have Gary A. Swaby. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good, thanks. Happy New Year to everyone. Good to be back on the co-op in 2015. This show is going to be elevated to new heights, so I'm excited, man.
That's right.
And
Same here.
also, let me just say that, people are going to hate me probably because I'm holding no punches from now on. And, I'm going to speak my mind freely. And, because of my new job, I have like less time and less patience and tolerance for BS. So I'm gonna be calling out these companies on their BS when it happens because
Uh,
I ain't got time for the bullshit. So
so,
let's
so in other words, ladies and gentlemen, when you see that we do not cover a certain game, and we get blacklisted by publishers and blame Gary A. Swaby for stuff that he said on this show. So remember that. Yes. Of course, and then we also have a very special guest, uh, our longtime colleague, Austin Conway. How you doing, Austin?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. It's been a long time. It's things have changed. I can
Yes.
see more, there's more green in the logos now, and I just wasn't prepared.
Well, yeah, just a couple of changes. You know, there will be so many more changes as we continue to evolve the show throughout the rest of the year. But glad to have you on board for a short period of time. I know you can't stay that long because you have other obligations to take care of. Um, so we are going to jump right into it. But before we do that, I'm curious to know, what have you guys been playing, if anything, since this year started? Oh, wait a second. Hold on. We've been joined by, is that Mr. Jake James Lugo?
I was too epic for him, so I guess
Well,
it's
he'll have something. Well, he's probably trying to gear it up now, fix up his connection. So we'll let him join. He can go afterwards. But yes, what have you guys been playing since the new year started, if anything? You want to go
Uh,
first, Austin?
well, thank you. Honestly, I go from like 2013. I pick up these new consoles, and in 2014, I don't really use them. And I've kind of noticed that, in hindsight, 2014 was the year I didn't really get to play much, and I got a couple games for Christmas, and I've just been tearing through them. The most recent is Far Cry 4, and I did not like Far Cry 3, and I love Far Cry 4. I feel probably the most badass I could ever be when you're just taking down an entire fortress slash base with a bow and arrow. Um, it's shots fired, but I'm glad Ubisoft could release one game that was actually playable in 2014, and I'm glad it was Far Cry 4.
Well, those shots are deserved. Well, you got something to say, Gary?
yeah. I just want to say I've been playing Far Cry 4, and on our quarterly report, I think it was the one we did in which month was it? I think it was September or something.
Last month.
Not last month, the one before. I think it would have been September or something like that. But yeah, in that episode, I mentioned that I thought it was going to be a disappointment, and I regret saying that now because like I've been playing Far Cry 4 and I'm really enjoying it. And the thing is, Far Cry 3, I found Far Cry 3, really difficult to get into. It was like really drawn out for me, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I couldn't get into it. But Far Cry 4, it's like it's been a lot of fun from beginning to the point I'm at now. I even tried out some co-op with Assad, who's one of our writers as well,
Hmm.
and it's been really fun. So I know Ubisoft, they've caught a lot of flack for some of the games they released here, but Far Cry 4 is really good. So I got to give them props on that one. They definitely executed with that, in my opinion. I've also been playing Shadow of Mordor, which is, it was our game of the year for 2014. And I finally got real deep into that game, because I wanted to dedicate myself to Dragon Age first. Like, Dragon Age was the priority for me. But, once I got past Dragon Age, I decided to pick up Shadow of Mordor, and, I'm really enjoying it, man. Like, it's a really good game. I don't consider it like RPG because some people say it's an RPG, but really it's more of an action game. And it's got mechanics from Assassin's Creed, it's got the fighting from Batman, and I think it does a great job mixing all those elements together. And of course, the Nemesis system is just amazing. It's a lot of fun. It's to the point as well where sometimes you don't even know where the Nemesis system starts and the storyline begins. Like it's seamless basically. Like the Nemesis could be part of the story itself, basically, pretty much. It's that well done. So yeah, I'm really enjoying those two games at the moment. I should have beat them already, but because I'm so busy with work and everything, I just haven't had much time to play, especially over the past week. I haven't had much time to play anything. I did play some of Game of Thrones, the Telltale, game that they put out. So I played like the first character in that one, in episode one, and that seems pretty cool. I think Telltale, they need to kind of step up their technology a bit because some of their animations and stuff, they look a little weird sometimes, like the way characters move and stuff, like and the way they transition. It looks kind of janky a little bit. So I think they definitely need to work on that. But besides that, great storytelling as always. And I'm looking forward to playing more of that. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Well, let me just say this real quick. I don't think that Tony Polanco will enjoy you talking about the game in that light because I know he enjoyed it. But that's interesting. Janky. That does not sound like a good word to use with any Telltale game. So very disturbing to hear.
It's just the animation. I mean, everything else is really well done, but like I've noticed in a lot of like Telltale games, the animation is really weird. Like when the characters are moving and stuff, like there's just something they need to work on.
Yeah. That's all right. Can you hear us now, JJ? Well, he got some technical issues, so I'll let him sort that out. Mine's going to be very brief. I've only really been playing 2 games over the last couple of days. I have been playing the Halo 5 beta. This is, of course, because it actually works. Unlike the Halo Master Chief Collection, online wasn't working the way I needed it to work when I first got the game. And I know that there are fans that they come to the website and they have been saying, "Oh, the game worked for me. It works for me." No, man, it hasn't been working for a lot of people. So I ain't the only one saying it wasn't working. But Halo 5 multiplayer, a lot of fun, enjoying it. Got my ass kicked a couple times, but hey, awesome time for me. I loved it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the campaign turns out. But the multiplayer is where it's at right now, so I have no real complaints about that. Aside from that, I also played Evolve, and let me just go ahead and say this right now. Evolve is a very interesting game. in the sense that it is a game where I have to look at and I have to say to myself, would I pay $60 for this game? Hell no, I would not, because the game just doesn't seem like it's a game that's going to last that long. Now that's fine, because Titanfall was the same way. But the problem with Titanfall is after I got to play Titanfall, and then I saw them adding stuff to the game over the course of time, a lot of stuff that should have already been in the game. 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking to myself, well, shit, this game wasn't finished, obviously, because you're adding stuff that is very crucial to the game now at the last minute, treating it like it's a new feature. And lo and behold, they announced recently, this week, the Evolve DLC. It's the same thing, where they're adding stuff to this game that should already be in the game, but as some people would argue. But I digress. It's not a game that's going to be for everybody, and I'm going to have some more to say about it as to why I didn't enjoy it. That you can stay tuned to the site for this, because I have a lot that I've written about this game that I'm going to be putting out there soon. But I just think that you have to go into this game knowing that, yes, it is a multiplayer-focused game. I hate when they say it's made by the guys that made Left 4 Dead, because I'm sitting here thinking, well, why can't these guys just make Left 4 Dead 3? I don't want to play something that you're telling me, obviously, Left 4 Dead, in my opinion, a much better game than Evolve. 10 times better than Evolve. So I don't want to hear that this is from the guys that made Left 4 Dead. But, again, not a game for everybody. Some are looking forward to it, and I ain't trying to give it, put it down so that they don't enjoy it, because some people may enjoy it. I personally just think that, no, this game is not, it's going to be one of those games where you'll play it for maybe a week, and then after that, it's totally forgotten about. But that's...
I completely agree with you, because I played a PC beta of the game with David Jagnall.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it got boring really quickly. I think it's one of those games that's a great concept on paper, or when somebody tells you the concept of the game, it sounds really good. But when you actually play it, it's something that you get tired of it really quickly. It's one of those type of things, I think.
That sounds good. Wait, so is Mr. Jake James Lugo, is your connection fixed now?
Yeah, it's good now. I don't know what was happening now.
There he is.
Google Plus was just acting up.
There he is. Sounds excellent. So why don't you tell us what you've been playing? Because I know you've been playing a lot of stuff.
Oh, I've been busy. I've been a busy bug all over the place lately. I mean, I've been playing a lot of older games, both on Wii U and on PlayStation 3, and a little bit on Nintendo 3DS. I've been doing a lot of reviews on the Coalition lately, so if you guys haven't noticed it already, go check out some of the latest reviews. There's been a bunch that have been popping up. But recently, within the past day or so, I've actually been doing doing a little run through of the Monster Hunter 4 demo that came out for early birds. That some codes went out from Capcom to different people, and I was able to actually get a code from a friend of mine. So I've been kind of messing around with that since yesterday when I got the demo. So I'm probably going to be putting up impressions, hopefully tonight, because I've been writing it since last night, just different stuff about it, and just playing and replaying some of the different missions that they have on there, which is pretty cool. But other than that, again, just been playing a lot of games for review, been playing a lot of, a lot of Wii U games, and a couple of PlayStation 3 games here and there.
That's cool. Sounds good. Well, I look forward to the Monster Hunter thoughts. I have not really jumped into that series, so maybe I will be convinced after I hear what you have to say about it.
I wish I had, gotten more time with the game back in New York Comic Con, because it was actually there when we were at New York Comic Con. It's just that, with everything else obviously happening, I only got to briefly see the game. Same thing with Resident Evil Revelations 2. It was there at the same time. Capcom had its little section of some of the games that they were showing on display.
Yeah.
And I saw it there, and there was a big crowd for Monster Hunter 4. I just never really got to sit down and actually get hands-on time with the game. Same thing with was it over at E3? They also had some stuff for it at E3, and it was a big deal. But now I actually am able to actually mess around with it. And, me being, I guess you could say, the Monster Hunter vet on the Coalition, because I've been playing the game for a while, or the series for a while. like that. So it's refreshing. It's pretty cool. There's got a lot of neat little stuff, neat little additions to the series that are, that are different, because beforehand there used to be a set number of weapons and like different types of classes you could choose, in order to go on different hunts and stuff. And they were all pretty basic for throughout the entire series. But now they added a couple new ones that are, vastly different than the other weapons, and they have a couple extra new little, I guess you could say, design choices, regarding the environment and such, that are pretty cool. But I'll definitely get into more detail in my impressions.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. We're going to jump right into the topics. I know that Austin has to leave momentarily. That's why I want to jump on this topic first, and then we'll jump on, check out the other ones. So, Naughty Dog has made a statement about Uncharted 4. They made a statement saying that they will not go 60 frames per second if it impacts the player experience. Now, I found this comment to be rather interesting because The Last of Us Remastered Edition came out last year, and all they kept talking about was it is 60 frames per second, 1080p. This is a massive, massive project, and this is the standard by which we are going to try and keep the games going from here on out. So now I would have to ask the question, what do you guys think about what they have said? Now, I'm going to let Austin go first again because I think he's going to be leaving soon. So, Austin, what do you think about this particular topic?
I mean, I think anybody who ever with respect to Garrett, I love Garrett, but I think there's this mindset by this technologically driven fan base, which is a nice way of saying PC users, who feel every game should run at 1080p and 60 frames per second. That would be nice, but I would also argue that not every game needs to run at 60 frames. Uncharted is not a character action game. Nathan Drake's not kicking off massive kung fu kicks left and right. It has no need to be as fluid as something like DMC. I think Uncharted's a roller coaster. I think it's a spectacle. And at the end of the day, if those fireworks are going to be a little bit more explosive at 30 frames as opposed to 60 frames, I'll take the fireworks that are more beautiful as opposed to the fireworks that move faster. So I think they're right. I think that's the philosophy to have. The Order 1886 has got 30 frames per second, but it kind of makes up for 30 frames per second with, I think, fantastic implementation of motion blur. So if Uncharted's going to use 30 frames, I would like to see that motion blur from Uncharted 1 and 2 really make a comeback. 3 didn't have it automatically, which I think was a little disappointing. But at the same time, they're supposed to be beautiful games. It's supposed to be a spectacle. And if it damages the spectacle, don't bother doing it. So I'm pleased with the decision.
Well, I think that's a very interesting answer to that question. What is your response, Gary? Because he kind of threw you under the bus there when he said, no disrespect to PC gamers, but yeah, you have to respond to this.
Yeah, I don't think he threw me under the bus specifically, but I would like to shout out all the console gamers out there, and I mean no disrespect to any of you, but I know it's early into this next gen still, kind of, but we're at the point where developers are still trying to figure out how to make games run correctly in 60 frames per second. Like, do people know that PCs have been able to do this for years now? Like, maybe even not a decade, but a long time, a lot of years, basically. Like, PCs have been able to run games at, resolutions higher than 1080p at 60 frames per second. And, these are next gen consoles. Last generation, we had some games that was 60 frames per second. So, this generation, damn near every game should be running 60 frames per second. And you can at least give the option, because some people might want to play in 30, just to make it more realistic and everything. And, like Austin mentioned, they might want to have 30 frames per second with a motion blur just to make things look a certain way and everything. that's that's fair enough. That's respectable if you generally like playing in 30 frames per second. But there should at least be an option because there are some games, and some games have gameplay that highly benefits playing in 60 frames per second because the level of responsiveness. Some people like to really master their games and everything, and in those cases speed matters and everything. So um the option should be there at least. I mean, in Last of Us they had the option, you could play in 30, you can play in 60, so they should at least be able to do that, in my opinion.
Well, if I may, I think The Last of Us was also from the previous generation, which was dealing with 8-year-old technology. And I think a lot of the times preference is a big deal of it, but console-wise, we can pop out a different hard drive, but we can't alter RAM. And I think that's just, the decision we kind of live with when you buy a console. You accept the fact that you're going to be receptive and be reactive as opposed to proactive from a technological standpoint. There are technological advantages of going 30 frames over 60 frames. Environments can be larger at 30 frames. There can be more complex geometry at 30 frames. They talked about how going for 30, like Naughty Dog in the same forum post on NeoGAF talked about how 30 frames also kind of allocate a greater range of animations. And I think, to me, that's more immersive than how fast something's moving.
Yeah, I mean,
Drake's weight.
I know
Go
what you're
ahead.
saying. I mean, there are definitely benefits of playing in 30. I'm not dismissing that. There's always benefits of playing in 30, but Uncharted, I that's a game where a lot of people don't like the gameplay in Uncharted, but I really love it. Like, I actually like the shooting and like grappling people and everything. Like, I find it really challenging and fun to play, and I'd like to play in 60, truthfully. So I mean, for storyline aspects and everything, it might look better in 30, but I think gameplay wise is where it would really shine in 60. So, I'm not dismissing the advantages of playing in 30. It's just, 60, it should at least be an option. And what this tells me is that the consoles released a year too early, because if they released last year as opposed to 2013, I feel like there would have been more games in 60.
Uh, I'm gonna let Jake chime in, but I have to say something because of what you just said. You said if the console was released last year, there would have been more games. Well, if the PlayStation 4 released last year, there would have been a hell of a lot more exclusives because the holiday lineup that the Xbox One had 2 years in a row, way better as far as that's concerned. Now, do you have anything to add, Jake?
Well, I guess these guys have their own opinions and stuff. I'm of the mindset where really the frames per second isn't something that really concerns me too much. I think it's a part of the presentation, obviously, and that's cool and everything. But I could think of the only other really example that I could really think of, outside of gaming, where frames per second really matters at all and such, is in the new Hobbit release. I don't know if you guys got a chance to go see the last Hobbit movie, but it was shown in a weird 48 frames per second and such. And a lot of people made a big deal about that because there was like a new thing and such like that. So there's an example, of a higher frame rate, that really wasn't like kind of like the best example to present that, like whatever that piece of artwork was or that movie in that regard and such. But like when it comes to like 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, I mean, it's okay, it's there. It looks a little bit more smoother to some people. Some people, for whatever reason, they can't really tell the difference with their eyes, even though it's like double the frame rate and such like that. But what I really think that's going to be important for any game, and especially going to be for Uncharted 4, is obviously the content of the gameplay and the story and all that other aspect of it. Because more traditionally, or more just, in the mass, most console gamers, that aren't super plugged into a lot of the stuff going on the internet, as well as all the stuff being posted up on other websites, are really not going to care about, frames per second at all. They're just not going to. It's not really a talking point for them. I think that really is more of a talking point amongst guys like us and more against like guys like that are following other outlets and stuff, or looking at stuff online constantly.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said. And I know a lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter to me. Well, it really doesn't matter to me because it's supposed to be about the game and whether or not the game, how the gameplay is. Now, I know that a lot of people who are fans, the fanboys, they will look at this and they will say, well, they will talk about Quantum Break. Let's say Quantum Break is going to be 30 frames per second. Well, that game is going to be trash because it's going to be 30 frames per second. Then you turn around and you say, oh, well, Uncharted is 30 frames per second. Hey, that's all right. It's all good. So a lot of people have a double standard with this stuff. I want to see them double standards end because it just doesn't make any kind of sense. But
Yeah, I mean when console gamers specifically try and go back and forth on this game runs at 30, this game runs at 60, this game's 720, this game's 900p, whatever. Like, that's stupid because you guys shouldn't even be arguing specs because we all know PC, is where specs are at. So, you console fanboys, you
yeah,
shouldn't even be bickering among yourselves because, it just looks stupid because, you know,
this is true. Well, that concludes that topic for now. I'm pretty sure people may have something to say in the comment section about that. All right, let's go to the next topic because we're going to go ahead and talk about them briefly because I have to show some type of respect for them. Let's talk about the Nintendo Direct the other day.
oh, this is going to be fun.
Yes, this will be very fun. Let me just go ahead and start and say this. I am intrigued by the new Nintendo 3DS, but I do not like the fact that it does not come with a battery. Because that to me is like, okay, well, yeah, you got to pay more for the battery. I guess if you already have a 3DS.
Not a battery, it's the charger. It
charger.
comes with a battery. It doesn't come with a charger. That's what it was.
That's what it is. Okay. Well, see, then you could tell I don't keep up on Nintendo.
You know what? That was one of the things I was most surprised at when I got my 3DS, because the 3DS XL now doesn't come with the charger, and that was one of the things that pissed me off.
That's a thing in Europe and Asia, I know, because apparently, especially in Japan, they've been doing that for a while. It's been a thing, and like a lot of the Japanese audience, Japanese gamers, have expressed some concerns with that, but for them, it's not really a huge deal. I think because it's such a major change for us, because we're really getting that for the first time, in gaming specifically. I know in other tech, they've kind of been doing that here and there. I don't know why, and other than the fact that their reasoning is that it reduces cost, even though that the new 3DS still costs $199. I'm guessing that it would cost a lot more because of all the parts and stuff that's inside of it and such like that. So I find that a little bit weird. But in regards to that, though, that's been a thing for a while in other territories. It's just that, again, we're just knee-jerking reaction to it.
Okay,
I still think it's stupid, though. Don't get me wrong. Practically, it's still very stupid because you're going to give that as a gift. Or, like, come the end of this year, you're going to get somebody a new 3DS, which is just the XL model, mind you. The older, the smaller model is not coming here to the US. It's only going to be the XL. That was Nintendo's decision to do that. But you're going to get them a gift, a new Nintendo 3DS, and it's not going to have a charger, and they're not going to have no way to charge that thing. If you were someone that didn't know about what was going on in gaming and like you weren't plugged in and stuff, you would be caught in that position, and then not knowing you have to buy that extra $10 charger. That kind of sucks.
A lot of people are going to get caught out because I know someone who's been looking to buy a 3DS, and I've had to tell them, make sure that when you're buying this, you get the charger as well, otherwise it's not going to work. And also another thing I heard with this new XL model or whatever, like you have to actually unscrew the thing to get an SD card in, which is stupid.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's scary. Like they were talking about this on one of the other podcasts I listened to, and they said that when you open it up after you finish the screw and everything, there's like this loud crackling noise when you actually get to the point where you're going to pull out the SD card, and it's like really unsettling because you think like you broke the thing, which obviously with brand new tech, you don't want to hear something like that. That really sucks, overall. So that I thought was a little bit of a weird design choice, but I don't know. I mean, the new 3DS has got a lot of good stuff going for it. I mean, they're gonna have a good lineup at launch for that. You know, next month, which February 13th. I mean, it's coming out at the same time you're getting games like Zelda. I think possibly Monster Hunter as well, and like one or two other games at that particular date.
I have to ask a quick question. How much space is actually on this new 3DS XL?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna give you like 1 gig or something, like, or maybe 500 megabyte or something, like, yeah, because they're gonna want you to buy an SD card.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going to be the next question. How big are the games? How big are the games now on
The
your
games
current?
aren't really that big. I mean, even now on some of the games now, you know, before some of the more new 3DS specific games start coming out, the games are really not that big. They're kind of small.
Okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
you
I
can.
mean,
I
I
have
used
now. I was gonna say I have now. I believe I have a 4 gig in my XL right now, and I got a bunch of games on there. So
Yeah, I think the good thing is that you can buy an ordinary SD card, whereas, with Sony and everything, you gotta buy their memory card. So I think, that's a positive right there. But
check this out though, which is a point that we should bring up because I found out about this yesterday. Apparently, there's a deal obviously going on at GameStop where you could trade in your XL or your old 3DS and get it put a bunch of credit towards getting the new 3DS, right? However, apparently, according to the policies, in order for you to do that, you have to trade in your charger. So obviously, most people that are going to want to get the new model are going to want to keep their charger since this thing doesn't come with a charger like
wait,
that.
that makes no sense.
I
So
know, right? I
they're
know it
telling
makes
you
no
to
sense
trade
whatsoever.
in your 3DS and your
Yeah.
charger to get a
Yeah.
3DS that doesn't have a charger.
Check this out. Believe it or not, that is an actual thing, and I confirmed it because I have someone that works over at a GameStop here. That you have to give them your charger when you trade in hardware, any sort of hardware like that, like that's portable, like a Vita, 3DS, a DS, or Game Boy, whatever. You have to give them your charger.
But
And
that's
this
stupid
this
because
regard, that kind of sucks.
you bought that charger, like you bought that charger as a separate product to the 3DS, most
No,
likely.
that's the thing though. For the older 3DS models, it obviously came with a charger. So I'm guessing they want the complete package and stuff that obviously when it first came out at launch. But it kind of sucks for the person that wants to trade in and actually get all that credit to get the new model. But then they're gonna lose out on this and they're gonna have to buy another charger again,
That's stupid.
or just not get the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems a little silly to me.
Yeah, that is silly.
That's very silly.
I mean, fair enough if you got the original DS and it came with the charger or whatever, then yeah, I understand that. But, you know, well, you said you guys over there, you get the charger with the current XL, right?
The current XL and the current small 3DS, it comes with a charger. The new one is not going to.
Okay, yeah, because over here we don't get it with the XL, so.
Yeah, that's been happening to you guys for a while out in Europe and Asia. Like that's been a thing.
Okay. Well, yeah, it still don't make sense though, like, because you have to give up the charger to get something that doesn't have a charger, and then you have to buy a charger again. Like, it's stupid.
It's not a huge deal because again, it's just $10 to get the charger, but it's just the principle of the matter where you're getting new tech, and like it doesn't come with something like as basic as a charger. Like that's been around for a while for pretty much just about everything. And it just seems like a little nitpicky of Nintendo to kind of cut costs like that. I don't think they're really going to charge them that much to put a charger into the box. I mean, it's just silly.
Yeah, it is.
I will say one other thing though, that there are we got some good announcements though from the Nintendo Direct. We got we got a new Fire Emblem game coming to 3DS, which is great. That's awesome. And apparently, they got some top talent, from they're going to be actually working on the game. Some of the writers for the story and stuff, it's actually be, some well-known guys. I forgot their name at the moment, so I apologize. But like, it's a big deal with that. But also, specifically, Namco Bandai, Harada is making an exclusive game for the Wii U. That's a 4-player co-op game.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm assuming a lot of these other details will be released during E3 or closer later in the year.
I'm hoping. I mean, hey.
Yeah, because they have the directs a lot more frequently than they'll talk about, go into more detail about some of these games. Because I'm not sure about you, but I do not know if that Zelda game is coming out this year. Even though they said it's coming out this year, I just don't know how far ahead they are, developing that game.
I think maybe fourth quarter. That's the best bet. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah,
hopefully
they
so.
showed they showed the game. Worst case scenario goes into next year. I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, that game, is going to be very meaty, and they're showing off some interesting stuff with it. The longer a little bit that they take on it, I think it's going to be for the game's benefit. Such
Yeah,
because really this spring, a lot of cool stuff that's going to be going on is going to be obviously on 3DS. Even though they already showed some of the stuff, for Wii U, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is a big deal. They actually showed some more legit stuff, and I think we got our first look of the protagonist of that game. Because some people were pointing out that he had the actual blade called the Monado of the main character from the last game. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But even more interesting, no Star Fox talk. No, obviously
oh,
no Zelda talk, obviously. So those games are not coming out in spring. Also, that game that was also the Pokemon version of Tekken, which is called Pokken, that was a big deal when it was revealed for the arcades in Japan. A lot of people were expecting that to get announced for the Wii U here, or just worldwide and stuff. Especially when Harada actually appeared on that Nintendo Direct, and they were everybody was like kind of caught off guard with that.
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, they have a lot of great. I mean, the year is still fresh, so there's a lot of things that they can.
One
Cut.
more thing that I can mention: Project Steam is going to have Fire Emblem characters in it. That's going to have amiibo support. That all the amiibos that you have for the Fire Emblem characters, those Smash Brothers amiibos, you could scan them in, and if depending on the character that you're scanning in, they'll appear in the game for you to use. And then they have other little nuances and nods to the Fire Emblem franchise, where if they die in battle, like you can't revive them to the end of the battle, which is a very Fire Emblem thing to do because deaths used to be permanent in those games, which was again another big thing in Fire Emblem Awakening. But it's pretty cool that again that's getting amiibo support, and it's a different type of game. It plays just like Valkyria Chronicles, which is neat and interesting. And also, was it Mario Party 10 for Wii U? Mario Party 10 is a new announcement, but the only thing that sucks about Mario Party 10 is because the way that the amiibos are made, you can only store one game data on the specific amiibo. So like if you have a character on Smash Brothers that you use and you got to like level 50 or something, in order for you to use it in Mario Party, you'll have to erase that data so the Mario Party data will store on it. Well, otherwise you have to buy another amiibo to have like separate things. But the interesting thing is that they're gonna have a whole separate line of amiibo figures just specifically for Mario Party 10, which is gonna be a Super Mario themed set, which is like Mario, Peach, Toad, Donkey Kong, etc. Which is fine, or Bowser, which is fine. It's just a lot of people got a little bit annoyed about that, but I think they even said a while back that the amiibo figures themselves can only store one specific type of game data on them, which is fine. Hopefully, I just wish though at one point, especially on the Wii U, the way that it's built and such, that either Nintendo or someone makes a program on there, or even inside the games themselves, where you could just store the data on the amiibo onto your Wii U console instead of having to erase that and just keep it on the Wii U. So that way you can use those figures multiple times over and over and over and never have to worry about losing your data.
Yeah.
you know what the hottest thing on Nintendo is though? Like I don't even know if it's out yet, but the hottest thing is that Mario level maker game where you can make your own
Oh
Mario.
yeah, Mario Maker, yeah. Mario Maker's actually pretty cool. When I saw that at E3, that was dope.
Yeah, that shit looks dope.
Oh.
Mario
Well.
Maker is going to be interesting because of the mix and match potential with all that stuff. Because you could change the styles of like the game, quote unquote, like the different types of sprites and stuff on
Yeah.
the fly, which is very cool.
Yeah, and you can share your levels, right?
Yeah, you can share your levels on Nintendo Wi-Fi and Miiverse.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
That's on Wii U, right?
I
Yeah,
think
that's on
so.
Wii U. Yeah, that's on Wii U.
So,
That's
so,
definitely
so
on
does
Wii U.
that mean you getting the Wii U, Gary?
I'm not buying it just for that. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask you guys this, because this actually came out of the same direct.
Yeah.
Nintendo's starting to get into that first steps of the cross-buy feature that Sony has done with the new Mario versus Donkey Kong game, and it's really kind of sad the way that they're handling it is that I think if you buy the Wii U version, you get a copy of the 3DS version. I don't know if it's vice versa though, like that, but that should have been done a long time ago with a lot of other Nintendo purchases off the eShop. because
Yeah,
a lot of people complain about that for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that done? Well, I knew they wasn't going to do it for Smash
You want
Brothers.
to know? You want to know why that wasn't done? Because Nintendo knows that they have plenty of people that'll buy those games again and again and again, and they'll just make bank off the like the $5-6 purchases. That's just the way it is. I mean, hopefully, the only really thing that to get them to change that, or at least to get them to take notice, is to obviously stop buying them and actually not buy games over and over and over again. But the way that some fans are and the way that some gamers are, they're just still going to do it, and they're not going to change because they know they can make money on it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we'll see about that.
What do you guys think of Majora's Mask, 3DS?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the picture on the site. That looks cool. That's one thing I like about 3DS is that they always come out with like special editions and stuff. Um,
I
I'm just waiting for something Final Fantasy related.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh, yo, let me talk, to get off topic a little bit, I'm sorry, but let me tell you something. That game, Final Fantasy Explorers, that's going to be a good game. I saw a whole stream of that game. It's on 3DS. It plays very similar to Monster Hunter, and I took notice of that because I came off the Monster Hunter 4 demo, but that game looks very cool because it has a lot of nuances from Monster Hunter, but it is so cool. It reminds me of like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time, but like on caffeine. It looks so good.
Is that the game where you have like different boss battles or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's the game where again it plays like Monster Hunter, where the bosses are the monsters that would be in Monster Hunter. They're the summons from Final Fantasy. So like you could fight Ifrit, Shiva, Rama, all types of different things, and all the monsters running around the maps and such like that are different Final Fantasy related monsters, and you could get even equip different type of gear, costumes, and weapons and such that are all Final Fantasy related. It's very, very cool, and it's 4-player co-op. I don't know if it's online, because the version that the guy was playing, it was in Japanese, and I think he was only doing single player, but he did like a whole almost 2 hours stream of it, and I was like, wow, this game looks really kind of cool on 3DS, and it looks interesting, and he showed both screens working on there, and I'm hoping that game comes stateside because that looks very, very cool.
So that's a Nintendo game I'm waiting for now. Right there.
Yeah, go look. If you ever get time, look up some of the footage for that or the trailer. It looks very, very cool.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Definitely check that out.
So, what
So
did you guys think of Majora's Mask 3DS, the game? Actually, not the system, because the system selling out like 15 minutes is ridiculous.
yeah,
That's
I did want to say
stupid.
something about that. Why?
That's man.
I mean, I know it's a limited edition, but why that quick with that sellout?
Let me ask you guys, like, that's not the first time this happened within like the past couple of months, because you had that with the PlayStation 20th anniversary PS4. You had that with this. You had this also with the special edition of Majora's Mask 3DS with the little figure that like costs like $49.99. That sold off in like minutes. It's like, okay, like how am I supposed to get one now? Like Nintendo needs to make more of those, both of them.
Zelda fans.
Yeah, Zelda fans, but it's not even that. Like, I feel like obviously Nintendo's always had their thing with artificial demand by not purposely like not releasing or not making enough. But like, it's gotten silly to this point where it's not just them anymore. It's obviously other companies, and they knew that this game was going to be so huge. It kind of sucks for all the guys that are big fans of Nintendo, and like, they maybe didn't have the money right now to get the new 3DS or to pre-order that limited edition of that game. So, and like now they're just out of luck. Now, too bad. It's like, okay, come on. That's really not fair for a lot of people.
No, that's all right. As you know, I was into Zelda back in the day. I have not gotten back into it because Nintendo. I haven't really seen enough from Nintendo to make me want to jump onto their hardware. Now, with that said, I am intrigued by the new 3DS. I do not know yet if I will get that, but we'll see what happens. Crazier things have happened before, so we'll see what happens as the year goes on. But I think that about covers it. With Nintendo, I think we gave Nintendo enough time to talk about. Now we have to shift focus and talk about arguably the biggest story of the week. you already know where I'm going with this one. Yes, the NPD numbers are out. Yes, we will talk about those. But before we get to those NPD numbers, we have to talk about the fact that Microsoft's Xbox One console has now outsold the PlayStation 4 in November and December. Now, while that won't really matter much because Sony dominated everything up until that point, what is interesting is that their decision to now they have the console once again for 350. Now, as I dive deeper into this particular decision that they made, I heard that they said that they're going to leave that price, but they have not revealed when they're going to revert back to the 399. I thought that was interesting. Just like I thought it was interesting that they even reverted back to 399 if they knew they were going to drop the price again. So the question I have for you guys is, do you think it is smart for them to stay at 350? How long do you think they'll stay at 350? And do you think they have a legitimate chance to still sell well in the next couple of months? Because as you already know, there is no games coming out that we have heard about in January, February, and March. Whereas on PlayStation 4, you got the Order 1886 coming out next month, and the month after that, you got Bloodborne. So what do you guys think about Microsoft?
Yeah, let me ask you something before I make a comment. How much is the PlayStation 4 right now? Like right now on the shelf?
$399.
It's $399. So I think they're smart to keep it at $350. Obviously, it'd be cheaper than PlayStation 4. But you brought up a good point. Sony and Sony and Nintendo both have releases going into this spring, like that. Like they got games we know that are coming out, and then we got games that we know that are coming over the horizon. Most of their stuff like Uncharted or whatnot. So Microsoft's being very quiet. With that price point, okay, obviously people are going to look in the shows, they're going to see that it's cheaper and such, but hopefully, going into E3 this June, they have other games that maybe they could actually, push forward or announce for actually being released this end of the year to get people excited about going to get an Xbox One again, like that. Because I can't even think of like any other like games that are coming out this year for Xbox One that are going to be big. Can you guys think of any at all?
Yeah, I think I can think of several. Okay, you got Halo, Halo 5, of course.
But it confirms for this year, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, that is confirmed for this year. That has to come out this year because the beta is already out there.
No, but like, did they give a release date, or like, is there any other like Microsoft first parties that are like confirmed for this year?
No, there's no release date just yet. But
that's my point. Then it's like okay, and you can say the same thing about Sony and Nintendo at the same thing as like that. But going into this spring, obviously there's going to be games out, and then by the time the end of this year rolls around, those games are going to be out for a while, and there'll still be plenty of stuff for people to buy on the shelves. There'll be a catalog there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. There'll be plenty for people to play. No, there are no confirmed release dates for any of these games. We just know that they have already said that they will be out there. And then Forza Motorsport 6, which was announced recently, is another game that I'm pretty sure that's going to come out around the same time that Horizon came out last year, which is September. I know that's going to drop because the car featured in the game is a Ford car that's going to be coming out, I believe, towards the end of the year. So people are going to be able to play. They're going to be able to experience the car before it actually comes out. So that's a big deal. And then, of course, you got games like Quantum Break, which will more than likely be delayed because I don't know if Remedy is going to be able to finish that game. I don't know how far along they are with that game. They usually take a long time developing these games, but there's several other. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more titles, but of course, no hard dates yet. We just have to wait and see. Obviously, E3, there'll be a lot of news at E3, probably some more at Gamescom, and then maybe some stuff throughout the year, here and there, some surprises. But what do you think, Gary?
Yeah, in terms of price, Microsoft need to keep the price at 350. Like they need to. Like if they do that, they can win. Like they can seriously like start winning. Because here's where I upset people. Sony, and I'm gonna say both companies, their exclusives for these consoles have been seriously lacking. And just by looking at what's coming out this year for both consoles, the exclusives are gonna continue to keep lacking. Like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
okay, so let's see. We got Bloodborne. Bloodborne actually looks good. It looks like a solid game, but it's niche. You know, it's for people who like Dark Souls and stuff. It's not for
It's
everyone.
that Dark Souls crowd, basically.
Yep. And the Order 1886. Now that looks like a decent game, but you know, graphics are good and everything. But let's be real, it's gonna
It's
be.
not a huge deal, though. That's the thing. The reaction of people, it's not. That game hasn't been a huge deal, and it should be, but it's not.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mediocre game. It's not gonna like
Yeah.
blow the box off or anything.
Yeah.
So what else is there? You know, we might get Uncharted. You know, that's going to be the big gunner. You know, if that
That's
comes
not
out.
a might.
If that comes out this year. If,
No,
We don't even
that's a
know.
guarantee. It got to come out this year. It has to.
No, it's not a guarantee until they say, "Yo, we have an exact release date." Like then it's a guarantee. If that game comes out this year, is what I'm gonna say.
If that game don't come out this year, then Sony failed.
Even if it doesn't come out this year, when it does come out, it's obviously going to be a big deal, and that game will be hopefully extra amazing and such. But until they actually say like this is the date when it's coming out, then I'm just going to put it as a maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So Xbox. When's Quantum Break coming out? Is that this year or is that not confirmed?
That's not confirmed. They said in 2015, but they didn't never say a date. So.
Well, I tell you right now, it's not coming out this spring.
Okay,
No.
so that might come out this year, and if it does, that's kudos to Microsoft. That game looks decent. But Halo is Halo at this point. Like, who cares at this point except Halo fans? Nobody.
I tell you, the reason why the buzz, I'll say, for Halo has kind of died down, at least from what I could see, is because obviously of what ended up happening with Master Chief Collection. I think that was like such a downer for some people. Like the way that it ended up turning out, like obviously for the multiplayer and stuff, it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Now, don't get me wrong, Master Chief Collection is an awesome package, awesome. We're getting a lot of single player content and stuff, but I think people were just really rubbed the wrong way because of how that multiplayer turned out, which still hasn't really even been fixed at this point. That was one of the games where everybody thought like there was no way that this could have like a broken release, and that's what happened. So I think maybe people are just being a little bit down on Halo 5 Guardians because of that same regard. Because look how many games we had broken releases last year, or at the end of last year, I should say, because it's when all the big games were coming out. Maybe that's why.
People should have been down on Halo 5 before that whole thing even happened. Like, because Halo it's being like, who cares at this point? It's the same old shit. Forza, good game. They're always solid. But it's a driving game, it's another driving game, it's another Forza game. So, I mean, what else is there to look forward to in terms of exclusives? Like, let's be real, the third party is running shit. And, Sony, they've been fortunate to win the console race so far. But, now they're starting to lose steam, and people are starting to realize that, their exclusives it's all an illusion at this point. Like, what exclusives do we have to look forward to besides Uncharted?
Well, there's another issue besides the exclusives. The PSN network issues that happened over the holiday, along with Xbox 360. Now, let me just say this right now, because as I said, and I said this to somebody, one of our fans who always comments, a lot of people looked at what happened with Xbox. They saw that Xbox recovered somewhat before PSN recovered, so they said, oh, well, Xbox recovered, so Xbox is better. No, neither one of these companies were prepared for any of this stuff. Even after the hackers said blatantly, we will attack on Christmas. We will do these attacks on Christmas. And yet, what everybody just said, oh, they didn't see nothing. They just stood back and let it happen. So both companies are to fault, and they both need to increase their security efforts. Especially though with that, because I know a lot of people who got systems over the holidays, they couldn't play nothing. And then I saw people talking about, well, spend time with your families. So let me ask you a question. Let's say I get my brother a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, and he wants to play games. He has to work the next day. You mean to tell me that, yeah, let's spend time together. Yeah, you have to play another time. That's did not rub me well at all to hear about this stuff.
But if we're talking about all the MPD stuff and things like that, as messed up and as annoying as all that stuff was between all the companies, maybe the exception of Nintendo, such, I don't think that's really much the big talking point or one of the big reasons why things are happening now with the MPDs as they are and what they should, the direction they should be going. I think that if you really want to talk about reasons why maybe Sony was losing a little bit of steam now, that why Xbox is starting to get into the lead in the MPDs and sales and stuff for Xbox One. Look at like what happened with games like Drive Club. Stuff like that, that's, just embarrassments. Like things like that, obviously, is a big deal.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you brought it back to that, because I did have a statement for Gary when I heard him say that both consoles have had bad exclusives. I don't know about that. PlayStation, Drive Club, yes, that game supposedly gotten better after they released the weather update, but the whole fact of the matter is it wasn't ready to...
See, it already is a failure because you said weather update. Like, you said weather update. Like, already, I don't want to... I don't care.
And from my understanding, that game isn't really fully fixed up yet. Like, that game just does not work that well. From my understanding,
I agree. It is a perfect example of a game that was rushed. It was not ready. They had to get it out. But what I'm saying is that, yes, you can make the argument that there were some games that definitely were disasters like that. We cannot say both sides had disasters, because Sunset Overdrive was a fun game. Forza Horizon 2 was a fun game. And I would say that was the best game on Xbox One last year. It's a racing game, yes, but that was the best game on the system last year. I will put that above Sunset Overdrive and put that above Halo, because Halo wasn't working last year.
Okay, I don't even like to count Forza because it's not hard to make a good driving game. Like, okay, Sony find it hard, but everyone else, they shouldn't find it hard to make it.
Sony could find it hard because look how many Gran Turismos they've released. Look at that.
That's right, Gran Turismo. That's right. That's all.
Yeah. Besides Forza, okay, so is it safe to say that Infamous and Sunset Overdrive are probably the best exclusives, besides Forza?
Well, that's the only exclusive I thought that came out last year on PlayStation 4 besides Drive Club. Granted, I love both.
Little Big Planet.
No, Little Big Planet was horrible, I heard. Little Big Planet was really bad, I heard.
Yeah, probably.
Little Bitch Planet 3, you said?
Oh, come on. That was horrible. But also, if you want to talk about another one, technically, to some people, including myself, Titanfall wasn't all as cracked up as it was supposed to be. Titanfall was actually kind of bad.
Titanfall was just it was solid, but it's just the content wasn't there.
That was a game that was overhyped, right along with Watch Dogs and Destiny, I would say. But
Destiny's not exclusive though. We're talking about exclusives.
Well, that Titanfall ain't exclusive either because it's on PC.
Okay, well, that's true.
But no, you correct. Well, what you did say that was very interesting, Gary, about the games coming out this year. There's going to be some disappointments. I do agree with that. The people who are talking about the order is going to be disappointing. Yeah, you can have some reservations about the order 1886, but people who are PlayStation 4 owners are still going to hype up every game that comes out because it's an exclusive.
So let me ask you this
then. The hype's not going to last though. The hype's not going to last too much long because you see the MPDs and people are moving. They're happily moving over to Xbox.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this then, like just in general, okay? Just both of you, just real talk. Over the next couple months, let's say like the next 2-3 months or whatnot, okay? Which console do you think most people are going to end up buying, the most of, or going to more gravitate to more often? Now that
Xbox One,
you think it'll be Xbox One?
Yeah,
What?
Sony are having a bad time. Like, they're having hacks. The network's going down like every day,
Yeah,
and
when those the network thing is the issue is very severe with PSN. It's like you can't play nothing when that goes off. Now, no, you can play single player stuff. I'm guessing. I mean, I haven't turned my PS4 on since 2015 started because I couldn't get on there. So pretty sure it's fine now. But I've been on Xbox One since 2014 and well into this year. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, but then don't you guys think you're putting a little bit too much weight on that? Even though it is an issue and it's an annoying problem on on Sony's part and stuff like that. But don't you think like maybe because obviously, like I said before, we have confirmed games coming out this spring, technically for Sony. And again,
okay,
obviously,
name
but
name me
since we're
some of
talking
those
about,
games.
so,
Name me
but
those
since
games, please.
names here, I gotta look it up now.
Wait, hold on. You said name him the games. You said
Name the
Yeah,
games that are coming out this
I want
spring.
to know like what exclusives people are looking forward to right now. Because the point I'm trying to make is this: like, third party is running shit right now,
yeah, they
and
are.
as with exclusives and
That is
stuff.
very true. That's kind of sad. That's true. The only one that really's got exclusives is Nintendo. But if you're just going to talk about Xbox One and PS4, then it's all third parties between both systems. That's what the games people are buying.
But that's what
Yeah,
all. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
I just want to know like
you gotta give the
when
developers time to make games. The AAA developers. No, go ahead. What was you saying?
when are we gonna get something that makes us feel like the first time we played Uncharted 2 or Gears of War or Mass Effect? Well, that wasn't exclusive. Well, the first game was exclusive.
So
You know what I mean?
when,
I want an exclusive that's gonna change things. That's gonna make you
Okay, so I got a
feel.
listing now
Wow.
of all the exclusives on PS4 right now. Okay, now outside of the point that was it Gary was going to make right now, I'm just going to run down some of the exclusive titles that are coming out within the next 2 to 3 months.
oh,
Okay.
we go.
All
Here we
right.
go. Cross
All
your
right.
fingers.
Okay. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Order 1886 coming out in February. That's one. You
Yeah,
got Final
yeah,
Fantasy
bro.
Type. You got Final Fantasy Type Zero HD, which I think is exclusive, right?
That's
If I'm-
not
yeah.
exclusive. It's on
Is
both.
it? Are you
Yeah.
sure? Because I don't see it. Doesn't have it listed here on Xbox.
Type zero. Type
Type
zero.
zero. Type
Yeah,
zero.
it's on both systems.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. No, because they don't have it listed on here. Okay, so then besides that, scrolling down, all these third-party titles, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's a lot of
Bloodborne.
scrolling. You're gonna be doing a lot of scrolling right now.
Blood.
I'm already into April now. Resogun. There's another Resogun coming out on PlayStation 4.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. No, Resogun was actually a good game. Resogun is actually a very, very good game that's
Yeah,
exclusive
so good that they had to recycle it and bring out another one.
Oh man.
Oh, that was cold.
Ouch.
I don't think they recycled it though. Uh, Super Stardust Ultra. That's another one. What else we got?
You skipped over Bloodborne in March.
Oh, because I'm still in. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I didn't even see that. No, so then count Bloodborne. So then what are we at? We're like 3 titles now, right?
Those other titles are.
Oh, wait, you know what? Hold up. I see what's wrong. No, because they didn't have it listed by dates here. Hold on, let me list them by dates, and I'll tell you the exact games that are coming out then. And actually, since we're still in January, right? Okay, we got scrolling down. Because I'm just trying to make sure like some of these are actual exclusives and not third parties. Because the way they got this listed is so dumb.
We got all night.
I will. Well, I will say one thing. I know what you're saying, Gary, about when are we going to get an experience that is going to make you feel like this is a next gen game, but you're saying a new experience, not a sequel, correct?
Yeah, like I want
Original
something
IP.
like Last Generation, right? You would legitimately want to fight someone because you didn't own that's the system that plays their game. Like Gears
Yeah.
of War. Like I would want to manhandle someone because I can't play that game on my PlayStation. Like I
That's
want that feeling in this generation because that's what makes this whole console war thing worth it. Otherwise, because it's looking right now like third party runs the game right now, and both companies are basically just trying to secure exclusive content from third-party games. That
Yeah,
seems like the new
well,
exclusive thing.
Street Fighter 4. That's gonna be
Yeah.
on
Oh
PlayStation
yeah.
4 and PC.
Yeah. Well, Sony.
That's not coming out within the next couple months, though.
That
Oh
soon.
no, that ain't coming out for a while.
That ain't coming out for a while.
Is that at least coming out this year?
No, it's not.
No.
There's no way in hell that's coming out this year.
If it does come out this year, it'll be in the fourth quarter. I'm telling you. I don't think that game's coming out this year, though. If it does, I'd be surprised.
Well, by the time that comes out, Sony might be losing the console war anyway. So.
Okay, hold on. I got about 5 games now that are within January, February time frame that I could tell you that are legit exclusives.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you though, if it's on PC, does it count?
No, it does not.
Does not. Okay, so then
right, Gary? No, it doesn't count if it's on PC, right?
Because Planet Side 2 is coming out in the first quarter this year.
Definitely don't count that, please.
Okay, so then so I got 4 games that are coming out within the next couple months for PlayStation 4 that are exclusive. You got Resogun Defenders, okay? You got the Banner Saga that's coming out in
Saga?
Banner Saga, yeah.
Didn't that already come out?
It's already been out on PC.
Oh no, it's on iPad, Android, and Mac. Because it's coming out for PS4 and Vita.
That's the game.
Okay, so then eliminate that then. So you only got 1. Then Bloodborne and Order 1886. So you only got 3 games coming out within the next couple months. Now let's look at Xbox One now.
Oh, that's going to be more brutal to look at because I don't know. All thing I know about is that roller coaster game, the Scream Ride game in March.
Well, like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something.
Yeah, that's the only game I know. Ori and the Blind Forest is not exclusive because that's coming out on PC as well.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised at that one too.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Like, there's only really just third parties that I could see. Like, some of these games are big, obviously big third-party games, but that kind of sucks. You know, no exclusives that are like, specific exclusives for like, Xbox Live Arcade or anything.
Well, according to Phil Spencer, they got a lot of games that they dropping in the upcoming, in the months ahead, and so they gotta delay some to 2016. So whatever he says, whatever marketing ploy he said to try and pump up them, get people excited.
Yeah, the only real one I would still consider it, even though it's coming out on PC, would be Ori and the Blind Forest. That game is awesome on Xbox One. I'll tell you right now.
Okay, so let's look at this fall, right? So the general consensus is that Microsoft is going to have Halo, Forza, and Tomb Raider this fall.
Yeah.
What's Sony going to have to compete with that? Like, possibly Uncharted, but that's one game.
That's one game. They're going to have your favorite game, Gary, Until Dawn.
Really? Is that coming out this fall?
Isn't that game a Halloween game? Can they just drop that in October and say, scary?
They better not drop that this fall. Like, that game is that hot to drop in the fall. Like,
I'm pretty sure they're going to announce some stuff that they're going to intend to drop. What if they drop Last Guardian?
That'll be 2 years from now.
That game is never coming out. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. I just don't. I think I see Sony losing steam. To be honest, like, I don't think they're capitalizing off of their achievements so far, because they did a great thing, like outselling Microsoft for so long, but they just didn't capitalize on it. Instead they're trying to do all this PlayStation Now stuff and all this irrelevant stuff, and it's catching up with them because there's a serious lack of it.
I think it's also because, keep in mind, there's still a couple of Sony studios, outside of obviously Santa Monica, that we don't know what they're working on. Like, apparently Guerrilla is still supposedly working on an open world game that's supposed to be big.
That's great, but it doesn't matter at this point, because we're not going to see that for like 2 years.
Well, yeah.
You talk about.
I think it matters. It's just that since we haven't heard of it, but I don't know.
So in other words, you're saying it's going to be third party running things again for the duration of this year, because
third party is going to run things this year, and Microsoft is going to take over because Sony doesn't have enough. Like this is like the deciding year right here. Like this
Yeah.
is where you know whoever wins this year, they're going to go far because next year they're probably going to have more exclusives coming out. So this is an important year for the console war, I think.
Oh no,
And
it's a very important year. Ain't no doubt about that.
and Sony just doesn't seem to have enough right now, and Microsoft are catching up. Like,
Uh-oh.
you know, that's just the way I see it.
Well, um, you know, definitely accurate because according to them MPDs, when you look at all of the software, a majority of the titles on that list, all Xbox One and Xbox 360 is where the platform that was chosen over everything else before everything else. So that's very interesting. Of course, with the exception of Super Smash Brothers, because yeah, Wii U, that's the exception. But almost every other game, yeah, Xbox One, Xbox 360.
You didn't like Bayonetta 2? You didn't like Mario Kart 8?
Oh well, yeah. I'm pretty sure those are great games, but
You don't like that Captain Toad?
I'm sure those games are awesome. But according to them numbers, apparently people ain't buying too many of them games enough for it to chart in the top 10.
That's true. That's very true.
But it's okay. I definitely am going to be looking forward to seeing. So let's go ahead and let's remember this date in history when Gary said what's going to happen this year, because I would love to see if all that happens. I mean, we don't know what Sony has yet, so obviously.
I'm sure there's a lot of great stuff coming out in the future.
Yeah, in the future.
But if you look at this year, it just seems already too late for me because they can announce some stuff. They can announce some stuff at E3, but more than likely, whatever they announce at E3 ain't coming out until next year. So
that's true. So in other words, So in other words, Gary and JJ, y'all need to get an Xbox One, I guess, before the year is over.
I'm good.
I'm not buying Xbox One.
I'm not buying an Xbox One. As much as I want to play Ori in the Blind Forest, I'm not going to get an Xbox One. I'd rather get a PlayStation 4.
The last thing I want to do is spend, like £300 on another system that I'm hardly going to play. So,
my
PC is serving me well right now. The third party is winning, and all those third party games I can play on my PC. So until there are some great exclusives on the consoles, then I'm uninterested.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. But yeah, I mean that pretty much does it for the topics we had laid out to discuss. I don't know if you guys had any other topics that you wanted to mention very briefly.
I just want to call my 2015 Game of the Year pick already.
Oh, here we go. Well, you know what? After you say that, I'm going to say mine because I already know what mine is as well. So
it might be the same as mine.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3.
Yes, that's it. That's the game. That's the game. Not just because it's a great game, but because I love how that studio does business. They got DLC coming for that game, all free. They took their time, and they're taking their time to make a great game rather than rush out a game like everyone else has been rushing out games over the last couple of months. So, yeah, I agree 100% there.
Definitely, you gotta respect that company, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How about you, JJ? Any early picks? Or no, not yet.
Honestly, no. It's way too early for me. Got to play some more games and such and look. I'm hoping that some games, or at least, will be good enough to be in the talks of like what would be the best game of 2015. I mean, obviously, Witcher is going to be a big one. Because how that series is and like how prestigious that game is.
Yeah.
I'm open games, that are coming out within the next 4 or 5 months, surprise us. I liked how last year we had those couple games that came out really early in the year and they were still talked about by the end of the year for Game of the Year, like South Park. Like, that was still in talks
Oh, yeah, I
for a lot
remember.
of people of like one of the best games of the year because it was such a good RPG. Even though it didn't win for a lot of people gave it to different titles and such. But like, it was still such a good game early on in that year. It was awesome.
That's true. You're right about that. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, we shall see. So, anything else that you guys would like to mention? Any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to the guys over at Turtle Beach. I don't know if everyone's noticed yet, but we actually have a quote on the Elite 800 box, which is
Yes.
their PS4 headset. So, if you're in the stores or anything and you see a Turtle Beach headset, look out for our quote on the box. So, shout outs to everyone at Turtle Beach. And we should be reviewing some of their stuff very soon as well. So yeah, shouts to those guys, and shouts to all our fans and supporters and everything. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. The Coalition VIP Club. We're going to be doing a lot of things with that this year, and we're going to be finding ways to give back to the Coalition community and everything. So yeah, definitely subscribe to that and support us. And that's it.
Um, you have any shout outs, JJ?
I guess, I'll shout out a couple people. Shout out, obviously, to all the listeners and the fans and the people following the coalition. You guys keep allowing us to do what we love to do so we can keep bringing you some good content. Shout out to my co-host, Peter Lopez. He's helping me do the All-Star podcast, a little podcast that me and him do every week now, which is pretty cool. Talk about games and such, having a blast with that, and everything. Shout out to everybody else, all my friends and fans down here in Florida, the con scene and stuff. Again, it's just really cool talking games with them and talking about the industry and such here and there. I mean, I have a blast. So keep checking out all the content that we keep putting out on the coalition, all the reviews, previews, podcasts, and all the other shows, the co-op, the throwdown and such, and subscribe to the newsletter. And hopefully, you guys can check out some of the other cool content we got coming down the line. You guys are going to enjoy it. You guys are going to love it. And, can't wait to see what 2015 brings. It's going to be amazing. A lot of good stuff to look forward to.
Yes, definitely. I like to give I'm gonna give a few shout outs as well. I would like to give a shout out to everybody over on the Throwdown podcast. Awesome podcast, funny shows. Every time I watch it, if you guys haven't checked out any episodes, you definitely are doing it wrong. You got to check them out. Want to give a shout out to the Baby and the Beard cast, another very informative podcast that we run on Saturdays for comics. Anything comic geek related, definitely check that out because those guys on there know their stuff, without question. Very consistent. They've been very consistent with their show, so definitely check it out when you get a chance. Also want to give a shout out, of course, to the Knights of the Turntable. Charles started that podcast last year, and it's been picking up steam. We've been trying to be consistent with it. I know I haven't been on there quite as much. I am going to be on there the next time because we got to talk about a couple of albums coming out next week. So definitely want to encourage everybody to check that out because definitely all this stuff is still in the works, but it's going to be a very good year for us as far as these shows getting more attention, having more things going on, and you'll definitely want to check them out because there will be opportunities for you guys as far as things you can win, so on and so forth. So give a shout out to all those people, of course, to the fans, the listeners, and everybody that continues to support us. And that pretty much covers it for this week. We definitely will have a lot more to talk about next week, as I'm sure. If any developments happen, you guys know where to find us at. But until then, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great evening, and we'll talk to you guys the next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.